Hi, it's Nadia here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to put together our summer love necklace. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel. We have a new kit that comes out every week. Also have a look at our website. All the kits are available from our bead shop. We also have some ready-made jewellery and a lot of inspiration for you. So let's get started. Our summer love necklace is made out of 3 rows and they're linked together. 2 rows are made out of tiger tail and 1 is made out of fine chain. We've used glass beads, all in a matte white, together with some gold filler beads and some charms, as well as freshwater pearls. We use quite a lot of different materials to make this necklace. If you get the kit from us, each one of the beads and the findings come in individual little bags and they're counted, so it will make it very easy for you to follow. And you also get a set of instructions that are printed, but if you're using materials that you have at home, you can still download our instructions and it will give you all the quantities on it. So I will put the link down below so you can go onto our website. You will need round nose pliers, flat nose pliers, a pair of cutters, a ruler. I suggest a little tray or a little plate to put your beads in, because a lot of them are very small and they will just scatter everywhere if they're not held in one place. Some glue. This is optional, but I'm using a quick drying glue and I'm going to show you when I use it. We've made the necklace quite secure without it, but it's recommended to use it. And I've also got a little tool, but you can use a little nail or a little beading needle. And again, I will show you why this is very useful when making this necklace. Let's have a look at this material, which is called tiger tail. It's a perfect material for threading beads. It's a long, thin filament of metal, but it's flexible and very easy to use. And the only thing that you need to be careful when you use tiger tail is how you start and finish it, so that the little knots that you make at the end don't become undone. And I'm going to show you a very easy way to do this. I'm going to cut the first length of tiger tail that I need for the necklace, which is 56 centimeters long. When cutting tiger tail, don't try and cut it with scissors. Although it feels very thin and it's probably easy to cut with scissors, it is actually metal, so it will make your scissors go blunt. So always use cutters to cut your tiger tail. So I'm going to use what we call a clamshell. And a clamshell looks like this. It's going to cover your knot and it has a little hole in the middle, and my clamshells have 2 eyelets on each side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my tiger tail through the clamshell, through the hole in the middle. And now I'm going to measure 4 centimeters, because I've allowed 4 centimeters at each end to make sure that it's not difficult for you to knot and finish this material carefully so it doesn't unravel when you wear your necklace. So just make a knot. And this is where I'm going to use my little pin or nail, because it will make it much easier for you to do it accurately. So I'm just going to check that I'm still at my 4 centimeters. So you can move your little knot around at this stage because it's not tight. So here I am, and I'm going to tighten it and then bring my clamshell closer to it. I will take it off the nail now. So you have your little knot. And at this point, when you're starting it, it's not that difficult. It's the other way around that it's a bit trickier. So just tighten your knot as tight as you can. And bring your clamshell up to it. And now feed your wire back through the middle hole. You might have to move your knot out of the way for a second, which is fine. So, what I've got now is my wire going back through my clamshell, and I'm just going to pull it tight. So I'm going to end up with a knot in the middle of it. And now is a good time to put a little dab of glue in the middle. It just fills it up a bit more and I feel it's safer, but you don't have to do this. So you just put a little drop of glue. Like so. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds because this is a quick drying glue. And then with my flat nose pliers, I'm going to squeeze my clamshell together. Not tight, because I want to make sure that the loops at the top match more or less exactly. So I'm going to squeeze the loops at the top first so that they're matching. And then I'm going to give my clamshell a few little squeezes. Like so. And it will remain nice and tight together. And once you've put your little jump ring through here at the top to join your necklace, the top part will also be together. So it covers your knot and it makes it look a lot neater. And now you can start putting your beads on. I've put my little beads in the tray. It's just easier for me to get hold of them then. And I'm going to start threading, but I'm going to explain why I've left this little tail at the end of my tiger tail. So the first 4 beads that I'm going to put on, 4 or 5 beads, and you just slip them on. I'm going to push them up to the end, and I'm going to feed my little tiger tail, the end of it, through them as well. And that just gives added security that if for any reason the knot inside becomes loose or opens, it won't open. And then you can just snip it using your cutters. Make sure you don't snip the other one, and then carry on beading. Our pattern, I've made it quite straightforward, so it's more or less 10 beads in little 10 bead sections, but as I said, the instructions show you exactly how we do it, and the link for the instruction sheet is below, so you can follow it. So you just thread your beads in little sections. Make sure you count, because I'm going to do it through the middle and then repeat on the other side, so you want it to be symmetrical. And then I'm going to use what we call little donut beads, which are little gold beads, and they just look like little donuts, but when you put them together in clumps, they just make a nice little detail. So I'm going to use 10 of these now. So I have my little pattern, my little sections coming up now, and I'm going to use some of the slightly bigger faceted white beads here, so I'm only going to use 5 of these, so I don't want it to be too long, this little section. And then again 10 of my donut beads. I've continued putting my bead sections onto my tiger tail, and now I'm going to put these little beads on, and I just wanted to talk you through them very quickly. So these beads are called heishi beads, and they're basically little discs, and they come in various sizes and made out of various materials. The heishi beads that we've used on this particular necklace are made out of shell. You can get them made out of clay or made out of plastic, and we send them out strung for one very simple reason. They're so small and so fiddly, and some of them come out so thin that if you put them into your tray and then try and thread them, it will just take you quite a long time. So keep them threaded as we send them, and I usually try and take them off in little sections. So if you count maybe 5 and 5 and then thread it on your tiger tail, you might find it a lot quicker. In fact, you will definitely find it a lot quicker. So remember to keep them strung, and then it's very simple to do. Otherwise, you'll be fiddling with them for a long time, and you can just make a little knot at the end once you've done, to keep them for the next little section. So I'm almost at the middle, and I'm just going to put the last 2 sections that I need to get to the middle of my chain. And now I've reached the last section of beads, which will be the middle. So after 5 of these, I'm at the middle of my chain, and then I'm going to repeat the pattern in exactly the same way. Follow it up the other side, so both sides of this particular strand of the necklace are symmetrical. So at this point, I'm halfway through my necklace. I've finished threading all my beads, and both sides are now fully symmetrical, and I need to finish off my tiger tail, and I've still got my 4 centimeters that I've left, or I think it's just slightly over on this side, and it's not quite as straightforward as when you start knotting it, but if you just take your time and be patient with it, it should work out perfect as well on the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do is thread my clamshell, my tiger tail, through the middle of my clamshell. And now I'm going to make the knot as I did before, and I'm going to put my pin or your nail through it, because you want to bring it down inside, and if you try and do it with your fingers it just doesn't work, but if you pull it down towards it, It's a very simple way of doing it, but you will never get it wrong, because you need to make sure that you have no slack on this side of the chain. So I really suggest doing it this way, and then just give it another tug to tighten it. And now you need to feed it back through as we did before. So again, just a bit more fiddly because you've already got all the beads on the other side, so you've got less room to maneuver. So I've put it through the hole on the other side. I'm just going to pull it and tighten it, and I'm going to try and feed it through the first 4 beads just like I did before, to make sure it's doubly secure. Which is a bit fiddly. We're going to get there, so don't give up on it, because we've made sure that these beads are not that tight at the top, so you've got room to put an extra tail through it. There we go. So once you've fed it through the first few beads, 3 or 4, I know it's a bit fiddly to do it through this side, and you've got the little tip poking out, you can just grab it with your round nose pliers and just feed it through completely, so that your knot is now exactly in the middle of your clamshell. And you have no slack at the top of your necklace, and then you can just trim it with your cutters carefully and as close as you can. So you've got your tiger tails secure now, and I'm going to put a little dab of glue like I did before, just for extra security, and it also sort of fills up the little cavity that you've got in your clamshell. Just the tiniest little drop. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds to dry up, and then I'm going to close it with my flat nose pliers. I'll just start off with the 2 little eyelets at the top, because I want to make sure that they join correctly, and then you can squeeze the clamshell to tighten it. And now my first strand of my necklace is finished and secure and ready to go. And the last thing I need to do is put the little charm that goes in the middle. And I put it on a jump ring, and in between 5 of the beads in the middle, I'm just going to open my jump ring. Remember to always open your jump rings forwards or backwards and not to the side, so as not to damage them. And put your little star charm over the jump ring. middle. You will have a little bit of space because there's always a tiny bit of space, so just move your beads aside so that you can get your jump ring right in the middle and over your tiger tail. And now I'm just going to close it. So make sure there are no gaps so your charm doesn't fall out, because the tiger tail is very thin, so it's got to be nice and secure. And your long bottom strand is now ready. For the middle strand, you're going to do exactly the same. It's slightly shorter, it will be 52 centimeters, but as I said, all the details are in our instruction sheet and the link is available below. And I have made the strand, so it's made in exactly the same way. I've started off my tiger tail with my clamshells, and I've done it in sections of 10 and some 3s on this particular strand, just to make it different to the long one. And the little charm that I have in the middle of this one actually gets fed through the tiger tail, so I don't even have to attach it in the end. I'm just going to show you how this charm looks so that you can see that the holes on this particular charm run through it, so you can put it when you reach the middle of this strand. And what I've got left to do now is my last little strand. The last strand of this necklace is made out of fine gold chain with some freshwater pearls on it, and I'm using 38 centimeters of very delicate gold chain, and I'm going to start off by putting a little jump ring at the end and open it carefully. Slip the last link of your fine chain through it, and now close it tightly so there are no gaps. Again, this chain is so fine that if you don't close your jump ring tightly, it will just slip through it and your necklace will fall apart. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Just open it slightly. You don't need to open it a lot because the links are so little, and thread it through the last link. And close it tightly. Now I'm going to make my little freshwater pearl drop, and I'm going to put one freshwater pearl on a ball pin, and then I'm going to put a little gold spacer bead, just because it's delicate and I think it just adds a little touch, separates the two freshwater pearls, and another freshwater pearl on top of it. And now I'm just going to bend my pin by putting my flat nose pliers right at the top. I'm going to cut it, the pin, with my cutters, leaving about 1 centimeter. And with my round nose pliers, I'm going to make a loop. I'm just going to give it a little straighten and make sure it's all perfect before I attach it. To my chain. And now with my little freshwater pearl droplet ready, I'm actually going to slightly open the loop that I've just made with my flat nose pliers. So again, just open it forwards or backwards, whichever motion is easier for you, but not to the sides. I'm going to attach my pearl drop to the middle of my chain, to the middle link of my chain. I do this by folding the chain in half. And then once I've found my middle link, I'm just going to put my freshwater pearl loop on it, and then close it securely by pushing it backwards and making sure there are no gaps. So now all 3 strands of my necklace are ready to assemble. And I do this by taking a large jump ring this time so that I can feed all 3 chains through it. And I open it, and in order I put the link, the little jump ring that I've put on the last link of my fine chain on it, and then one side of my middle chain, the one on the tiger tail, and I put the last one on it as well. So I've got my 3 chains all on one jump ring, which I will close. If you need a refresher on how to open and close your jump rings, I'm going to put the link to the video that we've done for this at the top of the page now. I'm going to lay this down flat so that I can make sure that when I link the other side, I link it in the same order so my chains won't get twisted. And open another jump ring, another large jump ring. You can then feed your chains through in exactly the same way, so you know that it's going to be flat when you wear it. So it's the small one, the middle one, and then the last long one. And again, close your jump ring. So our 3 layers are ready of the necklace, and I need to just put the clasp on now so that you can wear it. And I do that by opening another jump ring, and putting it through the jump ring that holds all 3 chains, and I put my clasp on it as well at the same time. And close it so there are no gaps. And for the other side, I've made a little extended chain, and I have made this by linking 4 large jump rings with 3 little jump rings so that it's adjustable and it's very easy to use. And I'm going to join it just with 1 more jump ring to the other side of my chain. Before I put my last jump ring on, it's a good chance to just make sure that all your chains are still hanging the right way on it so that you attach it correctly. So short chain, middle chain, large chain, and the same on the other side. So now I know how to grab this jump ring to make sure it stays the same way. And I'm going to put my extender on it. And close it. Making sure there's no gaps. And the very last thing that I like to do to finish it off properly is just put one little bead at the end of my extender so it looks pretty. I'm just going to take one of my faceted glass beads and I'm going to pin and loop it. I'm just going to put it on a ball pin and bend, cut and make my little loop. And now I'm going to attach my little last bead to the end of my extender. And I'm going to close it. And my summer love necklace is done.